Hi. I haven't been live here in a long time. Forgive me for that, but I'm hoping to start a regular thing here on Sunday afternoons to have a little Sunday afternoon Bach talk. And what I had planned on to talk about today is what I can refer to as problems of modern living. And essentially what I'm talking about there is our modern fast lifestyle, the increase of pace in everything in the world, right? Everything is happening faster. I'm probably not the only one who thinks that. And in fact, I'm told that even objectively speaking, the base vibration of the planet is faster than it used to be. The Schumann resonance is higher, measured to be higher than it has been in the past. So we're all running, right? We're running as fast as we can to do so many different things and on so many different levels. So for those of you who work, as an entrepreneur myself, my work invades all the parts of my life. Here I am on Sunday afternoon doing something that's work. I'm doing it because I love it, but this is part of my business activities, what I'm doing right now. Even though it's a weekend. And as an employee, many people find that they are meant to be on call all the time, right? You have your phone with you all the time, and there can be business obligations. Hi there, please say hi, whoever's watching. It's nice to see you. So we're basically on 24/7. We just don't have the same downtime, the same expectations of rest and rejuvenation. I am a person who sleeps legitimately 9 hours every night. I wish it weren't so. I often feel like I wish I had more hours in my day, like those people who only sleep 5 or 6 hours. I can't do it. I fall apart after 2 days of that. But many, many people are getting by on 5 or 6 hours of sleep a night instead of the 8 hours that everybody tells us to do. So there's no space anymore unless we really mindfully carve it out for ourselves to do nothing, to be bored, to stare at the walls, to daydream, to plan, to imagine, to read a book with a cup of tea. Like, those things are what we talk about now as self-care. They're not just obvious parts of our lives anymore. Children are being amused every second. Every second. There's either some, a screen in front of them, or we're actually putting them in front of baby Mozart, baby Einstein kind of stuff, right? Learn your colors. Here are the letters. There's very, very few families that prioritize meaningless play outside anymore, like we used to do. And then we send kids to school, like having primed them for extraordinary, exceptional intelligence. We send them to school where there's no space to handle that, which is going to lead to so much frustration for them, right? I know that my husband had put a quote on our fridge at one point that said, I'm going to get it wrong here, and I don't know where it comes from, but the best thing you can ever teach your children is how to manage their frustrations. I think that's a really beautiful and important thing. So frustration is the key word of what we're going to talk about today. And if you know what remedy I'm talking about, go ahead and put it in the comments if you get there before I say it out loud. So I've been working quite a lot in the last few months with my wonderful partner in crime with the Bach flowers, Sonal Singhal, who is just completely brilliant. There's no way that I would be doing any of this work without her input. And her contributions are invaluable, particularly on the bigger picture, the bigger energetic picture of what's going on. What is the energetic cause of someone being in a state where they would need this remedy? And her take on it is that it is a misalignment of the mental and emotional energy bodies, the subtle bodies that we have in and around our physical body. We have astral and etheric and mental and emotional, and I'm probably missing a few, can't think of them off the top of my head. But this misalignment of these particular subtle bodies causes disruption, in particular to the nervous system, and very specifically to the nervous innervation of our muscles. So what kinds of things do we see when there's a disruption in the nervous innervation of our muscles? One thing could be facial tics or twitches, that kind of thing that people sometimes have, where you have one eyelid that's just twitching all by itself. Do you ever get that? It's once in a while you just feel like, what's going on here? And there's a little zzz, little vibration in an eyelid or in one cheek is usually where it happens. You can have restless legs where you just can't stop them from moving, and you usually feel it when you're relaxing, when you're sitting on the sofa or when you're lying in bed, that your legs are not happy that you're sitting still and they just want to move all by themselves. It's very irritating. What about fidgety fingers that need to be doing something all the time? There's like a whole industry now of fidget spinners. You see them everywhere, right? Kids take them to school. People have them by their desk. Adults use them in a meeting to help them to concentrate, because your fingers, as if they have a life of their own, and you have to give them something to do so that the rest of you can calm down and your fingers can go off doing their own thing without your concentration. You can have bouncy feet. All my life, I've had a thing like that where my feet just want to bounce, even when I'm lying in bed. As maybe I notice it, especially when I'm lying in bed, probably drives my husband crazy. There are kids who can't sit down to eat a meal, right? They take one bite and then they run around and they come back for another bite. Even, you think about like McDonald's that have those like playland places, right? We're just, I don't want to say pandering, but people who have children who are hyperactive in that way really appreciate having a place for them to run around so that they don't have to be embarrassed when they take their kids out to eat and the kids are running around disturbing people, even in a fast food place. Kids or adults who are constantly interrupting others, people who interrupt you while you're talking. Kids who interrupt grown-up conversations or who don't listen well when you're telling them what to do. Go ahead, put down the remedy if you know what it is. I should actually see. I think I'm kind of hoping that I can see myself. Oh man, it's hard to be live and figure out where I am at the same time. Anyway, please go ahead and put in the remedy if you think you know what it is, okay? ADHD. This remedy is a picture of ADHD, attention deficit hyperactivity disease. No, ADHD. I thought it was a syndrome. Anyway, people, because this is an adult thing too, who cannot pay attention to the task at hand, or who get so easily distracted because their mind is jumping to other things, right? The mind gets busy elsewhere. It gets bored. Hi, Donna. The mind gets bored so quickly that it jumps to something else, right? Multitasking. I am the biggest multitasker. I have to be, it's not that I have to be doing, I feel like I'm not being productive unless I'm doing a whole bunch of things at once. And I go into Facebook with the clear intention of posting something. And first I look at, I better check all my messages and my alerts. And then before I know it, I'm looking at someone else's messages and alerts, right? We're multitasking, and I've got the soup on the stove and I'm talking on the phone. I'm the queen of that. So I get it. It's not a judgment call. We're talking about problems that we all have of living in the modern world. And if you can hear me talking about one specific Bach flower that you know, put it in. Clumsiness, okay? Clumsiness, having little accidents, comes from moving too quickly, doing too many things at once, at the same time, okay? How about eyes darting rapidly or moving in an uncoordinated way, unable to move smoothly with your eyes? Do you know what that causes? That's dyslexia. Okay, dyslexia has nothing to do with intelligence or learning. It's an eyeball coordination issue of not being able to complete the action of tracking the letters in a smooth way. So this same remedy could potentially be very helpful for dyslexia. Or where the tongue and the jaw are, again, the nerves are innervating the muscles in a spastic or spasmodic way so that there can't be a smooth use of your mouth functions to articulate exactly in the moment when you want, right? The timing is off of how your tongue and jaw and teeth operate. That's stammering or stuttering. So I think this is incredibly cool. Like all the possible physical ramifications of this one problem, which is a misalignment of your mental and emotional energy bodies, causing disruption in the way that your nerves are able to stimulate your muscles. Resistance to being in the present moment, which can be part of the ADHD picture, not exclusively, but there is a resistance to like being okay with the reality that's in front of you. And this is what we call frustration, okay? Wanting to escape from the reality of the present moment and not being able to wait patiently for what you want. Do you know it now? This remedy is impatience. And very funny that it like has a name that actually means the same thing that we use it for. The flower is called impatience or impatiens, some people say. And because I like to look at everything through the archetypal lens, okay, I can tell you that on the surface, impatience is a child archetype remedy. The child is the one that wants to have what they want now, and they get irritable and frustrated when that doesn't happen. And it often doesn't happen because they lack agency. They can yell and tantrum and scream and cry and demand, but they don't have the personal power to actually get what they want. So the image of a child in the high chair banging on the tray of their high chair because they want something that they don't have and they can't reach it or get down by themselves, that is the same sort of image, I guess, or the same kind of energetic template for an adult person who can rage at other people because things aren't the way they want them to be, but they don't have the power to actually make things happen the way that they want them to. Otherwise, they would just be off doing it, right? So what we see on the surface of the impatience person is this child energy, right? So the child is the distortion of the sovereign archetype. The sovereign archetype, which is like the king or the queen and who gets what they want. And underneath that, at the core, is the saboteur. The saboteur is all about time and all about the mind, right? So it's a distortion of the mind. This impatience, right, is this time-related distortion, that everything is either happening too fast or too slowly for them. They're either constantly rushing and in a hurry and need to keep up and are always thinking about deadlines, or they are way ahead of everyone and they're just bored because they feel so frustrated when people can't keep up with them. Hi there. Say hi when you're watching. Hi, Nicole and Donna and Gaviota. So impatience has everything to do with time, and so does the saboteur magician channel of consciousness. This is where, in addition to all the things that we've already talked about, right? ADHD, fidgety fingers, facial tics, frustration, multitasking, all of that stuff, right? We also have the whole side of fear of aging. And that is also a very modern thing, right? That we have enormous industries devoted to plastic surgery, anti-wrinkle cream, youthful everything, right? You have to like be doing your yoga and Pilates and working out and firming your skin. Like you just can't watch anything on TV or on social media without running into all of these things, which are, body hacking, right? Longevity, everything to do with slowing down time and extending your life. Fear of aging, time is running out, right? That kind of feeling. Not having enough time to complete your tasks, any kind of deadline. So it also covers, impatience also covers somebody who has what we would call an edgy temperament, somebody who's edgy, that they maybe have a quick temper. They would be likely to speak without thinking, to blurt things out without being able to hold themselves back and measure their words before they speak. So you might have someone like this in your family. It might be you. There might be someone that you work with who is just an edgy kind of person who's always likely to quickly explode about something and then it goes away. This is not the kind of anger that you would think about for Holly, which is more of a Holly can explode for sure, but it's a deeper seated kind of anger, a really meaningful anger. This is more a quick irritability, like a flash in the pan kind of thing. Holly is more like a volcano of, that it's a significant, long-held anger. And impatience is more likely to be the anger in one moment of something that is frustrating them. And as soon as they get it out of their system, they move on. Or as soon as they get what they want, they can move on, okay? So there's an overarching theme of not accepting reality, what's in the now, what's happening in the now, what is true right now, whether that's I can't have what I want, or I'm leaving the time of my life where, having a beautiful face and a fit body is going to be part of my existence, because that's not necessarily, thanks Donna, I like that. It's not necessarily going to be my experience of late middle age and my elderly years. And it's not supposed to be. I'm clinging, maybe. So that would be what remedy? Like honeysuckle. If I'm clinging to the past, or walnut, right? That I can't move on. That's a slightly different feeling. But impatience would be a really important remedy to include in a blend for accepting the now, accepting where you are right now. So there is an inflexibility about impatience with regard to like submitting to the laws of this reality. And for inflexibility, you know, we sometimes think about a remedy like rock water, but don't forget about impatience. Okay, that's like, there is a really critical inflexibility. Of course, that goes along with being frustrated, right? It means not being able to adapt to the reality when you get frustrated. So there could be a tendency to trip, to fall over, okay, because of being in a rush and not paying attention and wanting to get out of this moment and into the next moment without paying attention to like the 3D steps that have to happen between now and then. You might find yourself saying, I can't wait for anything. Sonal told me that she can really relate to this. Like she said, I have trouble to wait. Like I feel physically not good if I have to wait for someone to do something, if I have to wait for a meal to be delivered in a restaurant that's taking too long. Like I really, really feel it. I get anxious, irritated, angry, frustrated, impatient. It's all there. And where do you feel it? Where do you feel those things? You're welcome to put in where you feel them in the comments, but this is like a solar plexus issue, okay? So energetically, the distortion of impatience is happening around the solar plexus and maybe vaguely stomach area, preventing the free flow of energy, okay? Tendency to swallow food without chewing, that makes you choke, right? Like eating too fast, where you're not chewing your food slowly enough. That's an impatience thing. And that could be like an indigestion issue of just like where you're eating and swallowing and drinking too fast. And that often gives you indigestion because you pack your stomach too quickly. You don't have enough digestive juices or enzymes, right? Feel like I'm aging very fast. What I wanted to talk about aging, because this is so interesting when we come to talking about Bach flowers in the quantum field, working in the quantum field, which they absolutely do. Time in the physical body is located in the telomeres, which are the end structures of your chromosomes, okay? Telomeres are biomarkers of longevity. And why? Because they regulate something called cell apoptosis, which is the cell death, okay? And theoretically, or not theoretically, I mean, according to science, you can measure a likely longevity of a cell by the length of the telomeres. Now, something about telomeres is that they are available for epigenetic alteration. They can be adapted epigenetically from outside of your body, right? It's something that they've been studying. Bruce Lipton has done a lot of work about this and reported it in his book, The Biology of Belief, and everything that he's written since then. That book is already about 20 years old. It's not new science. But, you know, we can change our DNA from the outside, meaning with Bach flowers and other things like nutrition, like changing our belief system, like our mindset, right? Which is another way that Bach flowers can absolutely change your DNA. And we're talking about potentially changing your lifespan this way, right? This is epigenetic adaptability at the level of telomeres when we're talking about where time, where chronology lives inside of your body. So how is this possible? How is it possible? Because it sounds like something magic, like take Bach flowers and change your DNA, or live longer, or, improve your symptoms of dyslexia or ADHD or whatever you might have. But Arthur C. Clarke, the great science fiction writer, has 3 laws. And I think his second law is that any sufficiently advanced technology is indistinguishable from magic. And I love that, because that was probably written 50 years ago. Any sufficiently advanced technology is indistinguishable from magic. So it could be that 50 years from now or 100 years from now, it will be completely obvious from a technological, scientific point of view, how Bach flowers work, by what mechanism they are able to do what they do for us. But in the meantime, we have to agree that, 50 years ago, the cell phone that I'm recording this on right now would have been way, way in the world of not just science fiction, but absolute magic. The idea of communicating without wires to, lost the word, satellites, right? That with no time lag, in full color, having, like, it's impossible what I'm doing right now. And yet I'm doing it because it's passed out of the world of magic into what we call technology. And that's totally coming for Bach flowers. So thank you for watching. I hope to be back next week. Please put your comments in. Reach out to me for a chat if you're interested. And we'll talk soon.